Hello, and welcome to Shy Talk, an Irish history podcast. This week's episode is part 2 of the Tom Crean episode. And if you want to listen to the whole episode, all in one, and all without ads, it's on the Patreon, along with some interview episodes we've done recently, and a film club about Irish Jam, which is just a real piece of shit movie that you should watch and listen to us talk about. And there's also a bonus episode I'm about to upload now about David Simon from The Wire and his views about Irish nationalism. So that's all up there if you want to sign up for a month, listen to all this stuff, and then, delete your membership. Playing us off for chumps. Also in the description there'll be tickets to our big gig coming up next January in Dublin. We're going to be playing the Laughter Lounge at the end of January 2025. And you should buy a ticket to go see the show. And actually, if you sign up to the Patreon, you get a discount for the ticket. So it's basically free Patreon or a free show, whichever one makes you feel better. But that's it. Here is this week's episode, part 2, the second and final part of the Tom Crean story, and we'll be back next week. We just finished recording some special episodes with the Irish Rock and Roll Museum experience in Dublin. So we just did episodes about Rory Gallagher and Phil Lynott. So they'll be out over the next couple of weeks. Two very interesting men. But for now, here's a story about another interesting man. It's the end of Tom Crean.
Gather around now, you're in for a story. Old tales of lore, all in search of a glory. The history and mystery of lads, lasses and all. Discoveries and voyages, the rise and the fall. Follow me now as we go back in time. We trace the steps of Irish lineage to find. Joseph from Carlow and Gavin the Dog guide you through the ways of Shine's.
Like all football games, this story has two halves.
Yeah.
Tom walked through the Antarctic snow for 16 hours before he finally took a break, having all of his food bar one biscuit, keeping it in case he needed it for later.
What? Oh, so he had all his food.
Bar one biscuit.
So he ate one biscuit in his 16 hours.
No, he'd had 3...
Oh, sorry, he ate all the food.
Bar
one biscuit.
Chocolate bar one biscuit.
Yeah.
I realise now that is silly. I should have wrote that differently.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But he'd keep trekking.
Yeah.
Until he could finally see Hut Point in the distance.
Oh, the most happening spot on the Antarctic.
Yeah, they've got such things as... He took a second to rest. Finished his last biscuit, the weak-minded coward.
Yeah.
So he decides then, it's time to... He's done it before.
Yeah.
Who'd walk down mountain face when you could just slide?
No, yeah.
Yeah, so he slides down the ice hill.
After taking his last biscuit, he jumps off down ice hill. Okay.
Walks across again. He's completely fine. So he slides the whole way down. No injuries.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Men were hardier.
They were. They were made of biscuits and chocolate bars. But he gets down the ice cliff.
Yeah.
Hill, whatever. He's then tasked with crossing the frozen sea to a camp that's... he's then greeted by dogs and men.
Okay.
Dogs amongst men.
Yeah.
Men amongst dogs.
Yeah.
Quickly brought...
That must have been a bit scary for the... I've seen The Thing. All the scientists in the camp or whatever. The dogs just barking at some mysterious, shadowy figure coming from the frozen sea.
What is it? It's an Irishman.
Fuck! Release the hounds.
But he's quickly brought in for heat and sustenance.
Yeah.
The doctor in the camp gave him some porridge.
Okay.
Some brandy.
Nice.
Which he immediately then pukes up onto the doctor.
Did he eat the porridge and then neck a load of brandy, throw it all up and be like, oh, that was dodgy. Dodgy porridge. There's something wrong with them oats.
I was thinking about how the chocolate fingers probably wasn't really a part of the story, but it's Cadbury's way to hoist themselves or foist themselves onto,
put them into the
into the Tom Crean story a la Guinness.
Yeah, true.
But as the weather finally dies down,
just in time.
No, because they sent the lads back out because he's crossed when it's been fairly shite out.
Yeah.
he's gone across there, and he does that without any rations or supplies.
Yeah.
He falls down the cliff,
Yeah.
walks across the big ice field, whatever, and then they're like, "Whoa, where are they? There's lads out there on their own. We better make sure this weather stops before we go do anything."
Of course, don't rush in to save them.
So it takes about a day, or maybe just a little bit less than when they get back.
Okay.
They then have to, before they leave, refuse Tom the chance to go with them and force him to stay.
Okay.
Because he's like, I'm the only man that know the way.
I've got to go it alone, Tom. I know, Mr. Frodo. I'm coming with you. What a lovable oaf. Set to tie him down so he doesn't go heroically.
Yeah, now I assume that he wouldn't have been fit for it anyway. That they're like, oh yeah, come on with us. And then just...
Yeah.
just swings his feet off the bed and just dies.
This time he's at the bottom of an ice hill and he's like, I know how to get down this. Jump at it. Roll up, Tom.
That's how he gets off the bed every morning.
Yeah.
He just falls. But both men are saved, with Crean and Lashley, the lad who didn't get snow blindness, being given the Albert Medal.
What about Evans? No medal for him?
Well, Evans is sent home safely and becomes the youngest member of the Navy to get the rank of commander.
Okay.
A real Monty Burns type figure.
Yeah, so he obviously it's horrible, but he got blind.
Yeah,
and got infected joints.
Yeah, everything,
and
had to make sure that Tom did it all on his own.
Yeah. He survived. I mean, he persevered.
Thanks to Lashley saving him.
Yeah, yes. And they sent him home in a box, and he made commander.
Yeah.
Whose son was he?
So I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
But I imagine the Queen.
Prince of Albert.
But
that man changed his name to King Charles.
But Scott,
yeah,
commander of the whole expedition, it's not all good news. So there's the boys.
What? There's no good news there.
Well, the two lads got medals. And the other lad gets a promotion.
To be a commander, yeah.
Yeah. And
ahead of Crean.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure he turned to him and said, I'll look after you.
Yeah.
I won't forget you.
I'll tell them all about your bravery when I go back to Blighty. So there I was, surrounded by cowards and turncoats. Crean.
Some fella called Lashley, and I assume it was a Scot.
Tom, and you can't blame him. It is the nature of his people. But I persevered. I struggled on blindly in the snow. Well, not blindly, but full-sightedly through the snow.
Snow blindly.
Bravely.
You get to invent a whole new disease. Well, he wouldn't probably be the first person, I guess. But regardless, Scott and the lads who did go on, and when they sent them home, they never returned.
Shit.
Yeah. So it was February, the lads got back. In November, Crean and some of the lads went back and found the bodies in a tent 11 miles from One Ton Depot, which would be, I guess, the nearest depot next to the last haul.
The pole.
Yeah.
So he would have died if he had went on with them. It's Crean.
Or they would have all been grand.
Shit, yeah.
Well, he brought a lad with a hand injury.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crean could have, he could have done it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Or even the...
Why do they keep waiting until winter? I suppose it's the South Pole, so it's opposite. Never mind, I retract my question.
Yes.
I thought for a second I'd outsmarted all these all these men who live and breathe the Arctic. Like, you fucking idiot, go in winter.
Have you thought about doing this in the summer? And they're like, what?
The what? Is that an Onion article or the Waterford Whispers article? Or is like China, first countries to land in the sun, they do it by going at night. I need to try and find the South Pole in the summertime, you fucking idiot.
But, so now, when he goes and finds the lads in the tent, he finds their diaries, and upon reading them, he discovers that Scott said he cried when he left him.
That's what I was going to, because, so Crean had the chance to destroy that.
Yeah.
Well, of course you can't read.
Couldn't read.
He's from Kerry.
Yeah.
Like, we're just punching down. It's bad.
Geographically and
The English make fun of him because he's Irish, which is wrong, but we can make fun of him for being from Kerry because that's okay. Okay, so that, again, he could have just eaten. Maybe he did eat some of the other pages.
But when he reads the diaries, he discovers the team had, in fact, made it to the South Pole. So they made it.
Did they?
And on the way back is when the shit hit the fan.
Oh, okay.
Well, technically, it was probably hit the fan before then because they got to the South Pole
Yeah.
and saw a Norwegian flag in the ground.
Right, yeah. That's why I was wondering, because I knew that it was the Scandinavians got there first.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That's why you always see those
furthest men away from it as well.
But those jackets with the Norway flag on it.
Yeah.
What's that brand?
I don't know.
I assume that's because they got to the South Pole. They're good in the snow.
That's true. What was the Swedish guy called?
Swedish guy.
Or a Norwegian guy?
Oh, well, so I don't know the name of the guy who went up to the pole, but I'll tell you that Crean went up to a lad called Gran, who was the only Norwegian on their team.
Yeah.
And shook his hand.
Okay.
Just because fair play to you. Your countryman did it.
He
just said, I'm glad it wasn't the English.
Yeah.
But they didn't find all of the group when they were looking for the bodies.
And so the Swedish guys made it back alive, I guess. Or sorry, Norwegian guys made it back alive.
I don't think so, yeah.
Okay.
But just, I guess, like, they thought it'd be a great laugh to not tell anyone.
Yeah. That's rough. I'm just wondering, could they have, there's nothing else they could do, really. Maybe they just made the whole thing up, just turned the tent around.
Just pick up the Norwegian flag and throw it inside.
Burn it.
Yeah.
And so they didn't bother going. So they're not far away from the South Pole, but they don't bother going down after they find the tent.
After you get the lads, no, I guess not.
Yeah.
Which is...
You'd figure if you're there.
They're 11 miles shy of One Ton Depot, which is the last depot before the rest
so
of
they
the
still have
run.
to make...
okay. Which is still a good fair chunk.
Yeah.
I guess. But they didn't find all the group. They went further on to find the bodies of the lads who didn't make it as far, I guess.
Yeah.
But one of them, a different Evans, this lad stopped to tie his shoes when he was walking behind the lads and said, I'll catch up with you in a second. And then he just died of frostbite as he was bent over tying his shoes.
Yeah, that's a very stiff upper lip British way just to die.
Wasn't only his upper lip that was stiff at the end of it.
No, that's fair.
What's more of a British way to die? Well, Oates is a better story.
Okay.
Because he had a feeling that he was dying. So one day he walked out.
He's surrounded by death.
Because he's surrounded by lads who aren't Tom Crean.
Yeah.
But he has a feeling that he's like, I'm probably not going to make this. And maybe he's got snow madness.
Yeah.
He's not sure, but he just gets up from the tent and walks outside into a storm and says, I'm just going outside. And maybe sometime.
Yeah. That feels like the same vibe.
Yeah.
I'm just going for a walk. Don't wait for me. I've left my personal effects.
There's nothing here. There's an IOU.
Yeah.
But so you can see how
a half scribbled manifesto about the pros of Mussolini. Just leave that here.
But you'd see from these stiff upper lip Britishmen, that how all the achievements of Crean would have been forgotten through history.
Yeah,
because they went off and did such things as die. Yeah,
nobly.
Oh, I guess
without complaint.
And that would have been the Evans actually who had the hand injury.
Yeah,
because he was kept on. Yeah, so it was him. Yeah, the gobshite
fool.
Yeah, no wonder his hand froze off.
Can't even bloody tie his shoes.
Yeah. One hand.
No.
But
Tom Crean was there with his Velcro strap. Shoes. No fooling him.
But Evans.
Snowblind Evans.
Now I believe that this was another Evans. It is, because I've wrote down here a different Evans.
Yeah.
Again. And he'd seemingly gone back and he was travelling around doing his tour of all the speeches of, well, we made it to the pole and all the lads died, but we went out and found them, and I suppose you just go around and tell people your stories.
Yeah.
That
it's not a great story, but
you've been to the South Pole close to ish.
Yeah.
You've pulled back the bodies of men who've been to the South Pole.
Yes.
How close have you ever been to the South Pole?
No,
have you ever touched the bodies of a dead man who's been to the South Pole?
That's also true. Yeah. They were closer to it.
But he'd said that it may interest the crowd to know that Lashley had been a teetotaler and a non-smoker all of his life. It may interest others to know Crean was neither. And usually that'd get a big laugh from the crowd.
Yeah.
And they'd all go,
bloody Paddy. Bloody.
But landing home...
I'm also, a second ago, I didn't mean to say it was I did say it was not a great story. I mean, it's a pretty good story.
Pretty good story.
Say it's probably second fiddle to, if they're doing the tour with that story, if the other team are touring around with a story of them getting to the South Pole.
And came
That's
back
going to be
alive.
a lot of your
And
ticket.
they were like,
yeah. What we did was we did it and we all survived. And now we're being here and handsome and Scandinavian and telling you about it. And then you're like, oh, what's up next? Oh, it's a guy who didn't do that. And
he's making fun of an Irish guy for doing all the work.
Oh, that's worth the price of admission there.
Yeah.
Norwegians are fairly, sure, they did it, but a bit boring, bit plain.
But they tried to tell us about it, and I don't speak Norwegian.
Yeah, that's true.
But landing home in June 1913, Crean was promoted to Chief Petty Officer.
Nice.
Retrospective of 1910.
So he gets a bit of a
give him 3
back
years
pay.
of. I imagine he gets
Nice.
he gets all of that and a pension, I assume.
Yeah.
But within a year of leaving the Antarctic, he had agreed to go back on an expedition led by a friend of Captain Scott, a lad called Stackhouse, who wrote of Crean's 35-mile walk on that journey.
Yeah.
He walked those miles at a stretch, though 10 miles of such a walk would have sent thousands of men clean out of their minds. Crean is an Irishman with an incorrigible sense of humour, and it was this that carried him through. There should be an Irishman on every expedition.
Yeah.
That expedition got derailed.
Too many Irishmen.
Too many Irishmen.
There should be one on every expedition. My mistake
There should be one Irishman
Yeah.
and leave the whiskey at home.
Yeah. I brought multiple.
Now, because that one got derailed,
Yeah.
it meant that Shackleton could swoop in
The shack.
and he could pinch Tom Crean for his next journey to the south.
Nice.
He'd promised
The shack attack.
the shack attack.
Yeah.
The 7'2". No one really knew that about Ernest. Massive
Yeah.
man.
Massive.
Yeah, he promised to leave sooner.
Yeah.
And supposedly promised Crean that he'd be one of the men to make the final leg of the journey. So this swung it for him.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to wait around for this other lad, just Stackhouse. Before this, little side note, he did.
It would still seem. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
What?
No, it just seems mad that they didn't just.
Let him retire.
No, when he was that close with Scott, like finding the bodies, would you just fucking run up and tip it and say you were there?
Just to have a go, yeah.
Just like instead of going the whole way back home and then waiting for another expedition, you gotta imagine. I mean, even it shows a great discipline that he didn't do it. But surely the snow madness, you'd be like, this is as close as
It's only another week.
this is as close as realistically I'm possibly ever going to get again.
Yeah. Unless you do it in the summer.
If only they'd listen to me. It's going to be a little thing called global warming, fellas. Give it another couple of decades, you can waltz in there. You'd have to swim to the South Pole.
Next time, bring your North Faces. This t-shirt bollocks, pointless.
Yeah. Yep.
But, so, before he could go back on that expedition,
Yeah.
the
With Shag.
little side note,
Yeah.
he did a run on the Enchantress
Ooh.
boat right before World War One. That was a ship used by First Lord of Admiralty Winston Churchill.
Oh, yeah.
He used the ship to go inspect naval bases
Yeah.
before World War One. So he was on that ship helping good old Winston.
Oh, good old Winston.
Yeah, and that was
damn.
February, and then August 1st, 1914. The
Yeah.
same day Germany declared war
Yeah.
on Russia.
Yep.
Just saying.
So he was on the ship with Winston in February of 1914,
and
and then
then
August
Just so happens, coincidence.
or one.
World War
Kick
One.
off.
He leaves the day that Germany declared war on Russia, and the day
Yeah.
before England declared war on Germany.
Yeah.
Uh,
To be fair, they were always at that.
not declaring the war,
They were
just non-stop.
all the time.
This time it's happening.
This time, I mean,
Hold me back.
but all this stuff about like we'll be home by Christmas, fellas. Like they didn't think the war was going to last that long.
No,
They just thought
yeah.
it was like another war. That's not going to get in the way of walking all the way to the South Pole like a man. What is it they're trying to do this time? They're trying to do, because it's obviously first there has already been claimed.
I think they just want the.
They want to do like a route. They're trying to get the whole way through or something. Yeah.
But it was this time not quite as big of a send off as the others.
Yeah, because of the whole war.
No, I'd say because of that lad who fell 100 feet and cracked his
yeah.
head off the metal girder
Yeah, yeah.
in front
That's
of everyone.
a hard act to follow, I guess.
They were
Yeah.
like, how about
Yeah.
we leave in the middle of the night?
Okay.
Or just daytime and don't tell people.
Yeah.
Also, war has been declared, and they're like, do you know what we shouldn't do? Take a load of manpower
And ship. Yeah,
ship.
yeah,
And to
yeah.
do what? It's something the Norwegians have already done.
Shut up, it'll be cool.
I've been planning this for days.
Yeah.
But so this one's called the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, or the Endurance Expedition.
Oh, yes.
So Crean served as second officer, although his duties would stretch far beyond that.
Oh, okay.
The workhorse that he was, it wasn't actually horses he was handling at all this time.
Dogs.
The dogs. And this is where the photo of Tom Crean that you see holding the little puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very
Why did they
cute.
bring them puppies?
Because Tom was fucking sick of carrying everything himself. By the time we get there, they'll be beasts.
That's maybe like if they grow up in the environment.
That was a joke, but actually now
that
probably just makes sense to be like it'll take less to feed them all the way to get there.
That's a pro maneuver there. Just bring them little puppies when they get there. Fucking grow up to be dogs.
Yeah,
Easy.
give the puppies jackets.
Yeah, that's why he brought all the children as well. That one didn't work out as well. Bring a little 6-year-olds, grow them there. They'd be acclimatized to the winter. It'd cost less money.
But the only reason he had the dogs was because the dog handler never showed up.
Oh.
So he just took on his duties as well as, it's a big pack of dogs. But he had to do his own ones then, I guess, as well.
That poor dog handler. What happened to him?
He just living his life.
It's probably good scripted into World War I and shot shortly there afterwards. Yeah, I don't know.
What could he be doing? Why could he possibly...
We're just missing the boat. But like, sounds a bit dangerous going down an hour. I'll just stay here. Oh, what's that? You need dogs in Belgium? Well, right, sir.
So, on top of his own duties, he has the dogs. He'd deliver those dogs, those puppies.
Nice. That is smart. Then just bring one pregnant dog.
Yeah, Sally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so he delivers those dogs fairly early in the expedition, it said.
Okay.
Don't get attached to those dogs. Remember those horses in the first one?
Yeah.
Well, now,
not the dogs.
I also don't know if they knew she was going to be pregnant.
Oh.
Like the dog.
Surely.
They might have just brought a dog for companionship.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well...
yeah.
Now,
I mean, not being
who's
sexist.
been at this dog?
Yeah.
I'm not looking at anyone, but Tom...
But surely if you just... if you're going to bring a dog for companionship, surely you wouldn't bring, like, a female dog.
Why?
Well, no, as in, like, just the odds of them getting pregnant are a lot higher than a male dog. You know what
true,
I mean?
but you're already on the... You're not bringing another dog. This isn't like...
If you're bringing a dog, you bring a mutt of a man dog.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then you'd have to castrate him.
No, you're not going to fuck anything on the ship.
He'll be riding
He'd be humping
the leg.
All right. Okay. So they have a dog.
They have a dog.
A female dog.
So, and they have a couple more then after that. But so that's unexpected. Another thing that was unexpected, the boat got stuck in January.
To be honest, that feels expected.
Keeps happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't say it's unexpected at this stage.
But it's also not happened at least twice.
Oh, yeah.
But that now it is, it's 50-50 chance.
50-50, yeah.
During the attempts to free the boat there, a sudden break in the ice nearly crushes Tom between the... But he's grand.
Yeah. But he's fine.
He's fine. Yeah, there's no long-lasting psychological damage from any of these things.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he went back. At this point, he knows the snow more than he knows his own homeland.
Who's your man from the Shawshank Redemption who goes and works in the grocery store?
Yeah.
The old lad. I always forget his name.
I know. Bix? No.
Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks. That's it. Old Bill Hicks. It's just a ride. Thank God for old Bill.
But when they weren't trying to free the ship.
Yeah. But the dogs... Were we looking at that the other day? Like when they sent... I think they still do it when you're going into space. They they take out your wisdom teeth and your appendix and anything that they deem expendable.
Expendable or expandable?
Both. There was some other bits.
What about your heart?
Your tonsils? No, anything that you don't strictly need that but could get infected and,
Oh, I was going to say for weight purposes.
Yeah, to make it lighter.
You're a Formula 1 driver.
We need to make the spaceship lighter so we can fit all of Kubrick's cameras in there. But, so it seems bizarre that they would
I know it's in space, but he wants to shoot it with natural light.
Yeah. He says the only way you can get the lighting right. So it seems bizarre that they would have accidentally sent a pregnant dog. 50 years later, they're taking out men's teeth just in case.
You know what? That's a very fair point. And I don't have an answer.
Yeah?
But instead of getting bogged down in the minutiae of
Dogs.
details,
Yeah.
let's talk about football again.
There you go.
Tom, on this trip, was the best football player. Feck Albert Armitage.
Oh,
He's probably long dead at
he's
this
fucking
stage.
off inventing sinks.
Yeah, or retired or in an asylum somewhere from all the horrible atrocities he's seen on the Arctic.
Yeah.
But Tom now has had he's had the experience of the last couple of trips.
Yeah.
He's got a sure footing, like a mountain goat.
Yeah.
Or a man on ice.
Yeah.
He
knows the ice. That's
and
his preferred.
He's more at home on ice now than he is on
land, dry land.
Or at least on wet water, for sure. But more importantly, Tom had invented a new tactic.
Okay.
He'd gone home, he'd thought about it. He was like, how could I improve the game? You implement offsides? No. Stop grabbing the ball with your hands? No. Never mind that. What you want to do is he'll play as a defender.
Okay.
Anytime the other team would get close to towards their goal, when they're barreling down an attack, possible goal scoring opportunity, he'd do this thing called grabbing a lad and throwing him to the ground and sitting on him until his team had the ball back.
Just grappling him.
Yeah, and he'd just sit on him.
Yeah.
And then whenever his team had the ball back, then he'd just let him up.
That fair.
It was said to be a controversial tactic amongst the opposition.
Yeah. Who was the ref?
Crean.
Okay. So this.
I imagine it was probably Sally.
Yeah. Bark once for red, twice for yellow.
4 barks. What's that?
The fuck ref. That's great. Imagine him just sitting at home in Kerry. Some say he came back, but a part of him was still left in the tundra, out in the ice. He's just trying to figure out the best way to tackle him when I go back there.
And that's how they came up with Gaelic football. But now the Endurance, the ship, it was pretty fecked. It eventually broke free and drifted into the icy water for months before sinking in November. Now, the crew had meanwhile before this dragged all the supplies and 3 lifeboats off of it.
Yeah.
And they carried that over 200 miles across the ice and snow to Powlett Island, where they could find safety. Their fancy new sleds kept breaking down, so they broke them apart and just used the flat part of the pallet instead, which is real bad.
Okay.
Just, what's that? How?
They spent a lot of money on fancy new sleds.
But even the sleds is like but surely anything that's raised would mean this is better than pulling an entire, just the surface area.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right term. Surface area?
They made the choice. I'm going to assume that they were.
But because of all of this, the men were angry. Many of them fearing death. Many annoyed with all the extra work.
Yeah.
Few men. Few men, not a few men. Few men.
Yeah.
Were cracking jokes like Tom.
Okay.
The ship's carpenter, McNish, he decided to down tools. And not just because he was a carpenter.
Yeah.
He refused to pull the sled. He was, I guess, given out about Shackleton and the decisions of how they're in this situation and everything that's gone on before it.
Does seem like someone dropped the ball.
And then Tom sat
on them. Yeah.
But many men attest that his decision to stop pulling the sled was because of all the other situations and mistakes they've made until now.
Yeah.
And B, because that Shackleton had recently ordered the men to kill the weakest animals.
Oh.
It was Tom Crean. It was actually McNish's cat, Chippy. Who wasn't so chippy after the decision.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Which feels like I know we both have cats. They don't eat a whole lot. You could keep one around for morale.
Yeah, they shouldn't be in the Antarctic.
They shouldn't, but they're there for companionship and morale.
Right, and then so they have to kill and eat, or just kill?
Just kill.
Well then, okay, yeah.
I mean, he was the.
I suppose what was the plan, to leave it on the ship?
Probably, yeah.
No,
they didn't expect to have to lug it all the way. Also, a fair play to the cat for surviving through all of this.
Yeah,
it's cold.
It is cold. Right, so Ignatius is understandably annoyed then.
Yeah, McNish says he's not hauling anything else. Shackleton go do one. And also because the laws of the ship don't apply anymore. Because now they're not on the ship.
Yeah.
And also, they're probably going to die.
Yeah, fair enough.
So he would go back to work.
Yeah.
And not too long after. But they would go on to write him out of history because of this.
Now, I would say that he's in history.
Yeah, but
You
that's
were
because,
talking about it.
like, years later, I'd say deathbed confessionals.
They
there were
brought him
like,
back. There was another man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was another man there, and he was moaning about his cat, so we decided all to blank him,
Yeah.
historically.
Now, they do find some shelter along the way.
Yeah, shelter
called
from the storm.
Ocean Camp.
Okay.
And then they go on to set up their own new camp when the weather gets bad enough. Shackleton calls that camp Camp Patience, which is...
Camp, everyone just a little bit of perspective here.
Yeah.
McNish's cat was never going to make it.
Camp, I still trust this guy Shackleton.
Yeah.
Camp, do you know what? I'm too warm and full. Camp Chippy was a scratchy old bollocks anyway.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's dead.
I'm glad he's dead.
It was close enough to Camp Ocean that they could run back and forth for supplies that they'd stored there, so you could lighten the load.
Yeah.
They'd spend 3 months of bad weather there.
In Camp Patience. Okay.
Another decision that while everyone probably understood, kind of dampened the morale. They had 35 dogs.
Right.
Realistically, couldn't be put in the lifeboats.
Yeah.
When they eventually were going to be used.
Yeah.
And the dogs had a big appetite. Not as big of an appetite as the men.
Right. Bigger than a cat, I would say.
Yeah, I mean that the men wanted to eat them.
Oh, the men wanted to eat the dogs.
The dogs would have a big appetite.
Yeah.
But the men who were like doing rations and probably just having oats
Yeah.
and different stuff, they're like, well, sure, that's probably a delicacy in places like Kerry.
Yeah.
But so they go on, and after the ice thaws, eventually starts to break, and they could get inside the boats. 5 days of rowing, with Shackleton leading one, Crean in charge of another, and some say he was probably also given directions and telling another lad how to captain another boat because he had a mental breakdown.
Okay, yeah.
So they reach Elephant Island. Mad that no lives were lost.
No, so everyone survived?
Yeah.
With Crean, like, directing 2 boats.
Yeah.
And then...
And also, I don't know why no one else from the other... They were like, this lad's having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
What'll we do?
Give him some brandy?
Just ask them what to, like, just...
The whole boat was probably...
You're all seamen.
Yeah.
Surely someone's like, I could...
They're all busy eating dog.
That's true.
And what, they got the elephant island was full of delicious elephants.
No.
If only they'd kept the dogs.
It was probably another fairly empty island.
Right.
So Frank Hurley, who was on another boat that was in trouble, that he'd said that the ice broke, I guess, above them, and noted that Crean was piloting a boat called the Stancomb Wills. Disaster was only averted by the greatest exertion of her crew and Crean's skillful piloting. Shackleton said that when they landed, they gloated over pebbles like misers over gold.
Okay.
They moved the boats along the coastline the next day and set up camp, and Shackleton chooses Crean and 3 other men to go and find shelter, as they figured they'd need to find the next step of the journey.
Right.
So
what was that about pebbles? They're just happy to see pebbles.
Yeah, they gloated over pebbles like misers over gold.
Okay.
These
Don't need to throw the old misers in under this.
But these are nice quotes and everything, but you're like, do you know what's better than words in a situation like this?
Yeah.
Fucking doing something. Also, the second they get there, like, Jesus, Crean's done an awful lot now. Do you know what you should do? More again. Get him out there. Get him going again. So while they're sending the lads off to go find shelter, they decide to, we'll stick back, we'll reinforce the boat to make a journey to South Georgia Island to send for help. Crean was chosen as one of the 6 lucky men to go on that boat as well. Yeah. So they're like, now don't worry, Tom, you've found all of that, you've come back, we can go stay safely. We're after reinforcing this rickety boat. Yeah. Now you can head off and go find another island. Yeah. So on April 24th, 1916, yes, that April 24th.
Of that 1916.
Yeah. Crean sets off on an 800-mile and 17-day journey. Yeah. To get as far away from the GPO as he can. So Tom
just cocked his head in the air and sniffed the wind. Is like, I need to get to O'Connell Street. So the boys need me.
Tom and 5 other lads, they land on South Georgia Island. Yeah. One of the greatest feats of seamanship the world's ever seen. Yeah. Said the 2 books I read. Shackleton said of Crean during the trip, he always sang when he was steering, and nobody ever discovered what song it was. but somehow it was always cheerful.
Come out, G, black
Black
and
and
tan,
tan,
smut and fight me like a man. Okay.
They land on an uninhabited part of the island, fearing that if they went to the whaling stations, because they were in a rickety boat,
they get mistaken for a whale.
No, they thought that they'd be swept out to sea because their boat wouldn't have had the.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Shackleton says the men aren't fit for the hike to safety. But you know who is?
Who?
Tom Crean.
Oh, Tom. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's some sort of logic to be like, his luck will run out.
He's done it before.
He's done it before.
Yeah. I feel like it does make kind of sense, but it's like an old boxer.
Yeah.
That they're like, the body and brain could only take so much. They're like, just he's never been knocked out before. Like, that just means he's one punch closer to being knocked out.
I probably think like many an old Irish farmer, if they give up the farm, they go downhill very quickly.
What would they do? Yeah.
Yeah, you need to keep him busy. Sure, it seems unfair to keep sending him into peril after peril, but if you're sitting there waiting, I wouldn't know what to do with himself. He has no hobbies. He has no real friendships outside of his wife's friends. He'd whittle away.
Or
give
you
him
could just,
a modicum apiece.
You could try
someone else.
Yeah,
but why, if you know...
They're all able seamen.
Doesn't seem like it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Which is fair, I suppose, because this one is another success.
Yeah.
So this one's a 30-mile journey.
Yeah.
36 hours to the nearest whaling station.
Yeah.
So this is the first time the island had ever been trekked, because whoever they set up camp at the whaling station and they never went anywhere else. Yeah. So they landed on the opposite side.
Okay.
So he explored the island technically for the first time, even though people had been living on it.
Yeah.
But so
first time old Whitey was there though.
But again, did this without any tents. And there was another lad with him this time. I should have said there is one other man.
Okay.
But no tents, no sleeping bags, and in one go, no sleep, and without a map.
Yeah, well, of course
because no one
had done it before. Yeah,
it is just an island, and it says you're here as
a
the crow flies.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a question mark, but he follows that as the actual route.
Yeah.
But they get hiking. They sleep for about half an hour at one point.
Okay.
Which
well, you
does
said
mean
no
technically. Sleep. I said without stopping.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing to say they didn't keep. They could have used that time to fall down an ice.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, they don't. They don't. I guess they think that if they stay asleep for any longer, they might die. The long sleep.
Yeah.
Of the cold and such. But they keep going until it's nighttime, and they come across a slope.
Tommy says,
"I got it.
I've done this dance before."
So just like the last time, they fall down.
Okay.
This time without a sled though.
Yeah, because I thought he's been doing this sledless the whole time.
No, I think he's had the sleds.
Okay.
So. Or at least the first time they had the sled.
Yeah.
But this time, same result, not even a scratch.
Yeah.
Makes me think that, it's actually it's very good. If you're going to fall down and fall into something to crash land into, snow's probably pretty good.
Probably. Yeah.
I say that without any knowledge. And
I mean, this guy just keeps getting results, though.
Just as soon as I said it, I was like, you know what snow is? It's just frozen, like, water.
Yeah.
And what happens if you hit water from, like, more than 100 meters?
Nothing.
Let's try. Let's find out.
Yeah.
But in fairness to them, they did have some supplies. They had a bit of rope, an axe, and screws.
Okay.
That they drove into their boots for extra grip on the ice.
Yes.
Which is pretty smart.
That is pretty good.
They make it to the whaling station.
They don't have boots for the snow.
No.
Okay.
That would come at a later date. That wouldn't be till after the 1936 Cup final.
Okay.
So Stromness is the whaling station that they landed, describing themselves as the world's dirtiest men. They came across two children as they walked into the town.
Describing them as the world's dirtiest children.
But the kids scream and they run away thinking that the men are zombies.
Sure.
Or some form of, I don't know if zombies existed at the time. Well, yes, that too. The world's dirtiest pedophiles. The BBC hadn't existed yet.
This is like a Channel 4 show from the early 2000s. The world's dirtiest pedos.
But they send a boat to go rescue the lads on the other side of the island. As for the 22 lads who are left on Elephant Island, because not everyone, because that's like
Georgia.
There's 2 separate places now that they go and rescue people from. So they get all the people on the other side of the island fairly handy.
Yeah.
The 22 lads on Elephant Island, when they get there, it'd take 4 attempts over the space of 3 months. And eventually they would rescue them all.
Oh,
yeah,
very good.
It's absolutely grand.
Yeah.
It makes you think that the South Pole isn't that, like, the Antarctic's probably all right.
Yeah.
Or else these are just very hardy men.
They're very hardy men, probably. As long as they're sitting still.
Yeah, as long as they're not, as long as they have an Irishman, Tom Crean with them.
Mm-hmm.
But so then the lads they're all back on dry land.
Nice.
Tom lands back in England in November 1916.
Oh, wait, so they're just done.
That's it. Now,
what was the point of any of that?
No point to any of it.
So they immediately got the Endurance stuck, then just had to go from island to island, and then ended up at a whaling station where everyone got saved, and then that was it.
So just lost like a year and a bit of their lives for nothing.
Yeah. 2 prime years even.
Yeah. And this is after the pole had already been discovered.
Yeah.
And done. Yeah, so
just to be sure. Just go down and double check.
Does Norway exist?
Yeah. Isn't that what the fuck's his name? Dan Harmon, not Dan Harmon. Dan Carlin?
Dan Carlin, Hardcore History. Yeah.
Hardcore History, yeah. I think that's in one of his World War One series. There's a story in there about Tom Crean. It must be this bit where he gets to the whaling station when he sends the boats off to pick up the boys. And he's like, any news? What's going on? We've been gone for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, what happened with that war that was starting when we were heading off? Who won? And they're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's still going. That's yeah.
We've got another mission for you, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. How many points did England win by? Ooh,
are the Irish
why are you
with
speaking
the English?
in German?
Well, they've actually used it as their opportunity to
yeah.
But I've got a letter to send home. Oh, the post office is But
oh, my beautiful post office.
So he gets back to England. He's promoted to acting boatswain.
Right.
Which I don't know what that means.
Boatswain?
It's a warrant or a rank.
Yeah. And this is 1916.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and he's still accepting.
Yeah, now he's been away. They can't prove he's...
What?
They don't know he was there. For as much as they know he was in the Antarctic the whole time.
Yeah, but no, I mean, from his point of view, he's coming back and he's taking the Queen's shilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's probably pensionable by now at this stage. You're not going to turn down... There's no Irishman who would go, you'd want to give her the 2 fingers.
Casement threw out his knighthood.
That it means...
I almost bloody turned it down, lads. I was this close.
Yeah, and you know what? I said I'd do it for ye.
I said I'd take him down from the inside.
But so this is the highest rank you can be on a boat crew.
While being Irish.
It's his 3rd polar medal, which is
nice.
More medals for... I assume this is like when you see those... like the more of like American than the British, I guess. But when you see like... There's a million different medals in their pockets.
Yeah.
Like, what are all of these? You couldn't have... What are they for?
You couldn't have done everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got 3 polar medals. Okay.
And he's now a proper officer.
Yeah.
Which coming from a space of like being a 15-year-old who just joined as the Navy. Now you're an officer who's reserved for like lads who went to college and then joined because their dads were pedophiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he just climbed and fell and slid and ignorantly bulled his way into an officer.
Slightly more promotions.
Yeah. Fair play to him.
He would see out his time in the Navy over the next few years in a more relaxed manner. World War II. No, he married...
In the trenches of Ypres. Tell you one thing about Belgium. It's bloody hot.
I tell you what. I still don't miscarriage.
Yeah.
No, he marries Eileen Hurley of Anishkull.
Also, earlier on you might see in the tape that I sort of zoned out for a time when you were talking about the dogs because I was trying to see, was Kerrygold an anagram of curry dog? And it's not.
Curry dog.
I thought they might say dog is in there, and I was trying to do the...
no, you do know that they have... There's a different amount of letters in each of those words.
No, Kerrygold was the gold standard I was aiming for, but I was happy to chime in very late when any sort of dog, Kerry dog combination.
And instead of just not saying that,
Because it'll be apparent
you've disrupted the story.
to tell you that I tried.
Okay.
I want to say that I tried my best. Wrecky dog. Anyway.
He'd marry Eileen Hurley
Yeah.
of Annaskull,
Yeah.
the hometown, which
Hometown hero.
Which feels mad because he's not been there since he's been 15, apart from when he's visited occasionally for those couple of years he was stationed in, was it at Portsmouth or wherever?
Can't the fella just walk all the way to Mordor, drop a ring in the volcano, and then go back and marry Rosie?
And come back, and then she's seeing somebody, the hussy.
I thought you were dead. Someone's got to raise the young'uns.
You said you'd right. Well, no. I did.
I just always assumed you and Frodo, when you said you were going off the mountain, that was just your way of telling us. We all knew. We all thought it.
Look, here's the letter I sent you. I made a copy of it for proof. It's dated the 24th of April,
Yep.
1960. No, she's waited for him.
Nice.
Which, now, granted, there is only 300 people in that town.
Yeah.
So
And she's related to most of them.
probably a few of them anyway. You take out their two parents, that's 298.
Yeah.
And then there's probably some children.
Probably.
And most people, yeah, so it's...
That's romantic, though.
No, it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny that he hasn't really gone home.
No,
this
yeah,
year
he's
at
not been
all.
like going home even once a month.
Yeah.
Or once, like for 2 months, and he's gone for 2 years, and then he's back. He spends his time working in England, then going on expeditions to the Antarctic, and every so often goes home to visit the bar and sees herself at the other end of the bar, tips his hat at her, and it's like, yeah, she'll always be there.
She'll always be there. That's a good lesson for every Irishman.
Yeah.
You keep doing what you're doing.
You just, they'll wait for you.
Try and make it to the South Pole. You don't make it, go back, in danger again. Just figure that stuff out first, and then she'll still be there.
But they'd said that he'd known her since he was a kid, and now they had a child. And by the time of their second child, it was 1920, and Shackleton was gearing up for one more crack at it.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
yeah.
who'd been happy with his family life until this stage,
Oh.
and had a pub running out of his gaff.
The Irishman's dream.
Yeah,
I've put them ways behind me, Ernest.
I think he might have gone back to Kerry while he was on leave a few times to get like the license for that and get it set up.
Not to see yourself.
No,
just to get the pub
it's
running.
mainly for the pub license.
And
But-
I'm just trying to get into get more of a Kerry accent going.
What accent is that?
I'm trying to find it, but I don't know.
It's getting closer to Jamaican now.
It's no, it's not Jamaican, but it's more just it's too much the fields of fucking Bristol and Brummie. But
There you go. You're Yorkshire.
Yorkshire,
maybe.
but no, it should be
Say heartbeat for me.
Heartbeat. Who's from Kerry? The Shane Clifford.
Dahi O'Shea.
Dahi O'Shea. In local news. Yeah.
Fuck, you do a good Shane Clifford.
It's a spot on Shane Clifford, the cliff.
But I guess the idea of leaving this new life for a number of years and maybe forever
Seems very appealing.
no, it was too much for him, and he turned down his old friend's offer.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
He would, however, continue sailing.
Yeah.
Like after
Tom Crean. It's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I got one more job for you.
These days, I go by Dad. Hardest job of them all. I tell you.
Well, now he has to go to Russia.
Okay.
Yeah, 1919.
That's a good trade-off there. Just pitch that to the wife.
You're not going to the Antarctic. I'm not.
No,
I'm
he
not
said,
going to the Antarctic.
I didn't. I turned it down.
Yeah,
Remember that? I graciously turned it down. Now,
I'm
on
going
an
to
unrelated
Russia during
note,
a civil war.
there is a chance for me to go to Russia. It's closer than the South Pole.
But it's just a footnote in history, and his story. It's
Why he joined the commies over in?
no, it's just that that it's only a short trip. He's back in March of 1920. He would retire.
Why was he going to Russia?
They had a civil war, so the English would have been sending over submarines for.
Just for the crack.
On one side, every civil war would have outside forces
Yeah.
who would want one side of the war to win over the other. I imagine.
Right. And they're sending Crean with subs over to Russia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by March then 1920 he'd retire on medical grounds, having fallen from the HMS Hecla, where he then
They're
suffered.
trying to get off the boat, and he's like, "I know I learned an old trick in the South Pole." Whoop.
God, this is very hard snow.
Fuck. Goddamn melted snow.
It said he after this he'd suffered from poor vision for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But in a book that I read, it said that he had tinnitus.
Oh.
Had to retire because of that, which I don't think was a thing, because even like in the...
I have tinnitus, and it, does certainly drives me insane, but I don't think it would...
Stop.
Like, with all the other stuff that these guys are dealing with. That's very manageable compared to all the other stress that he's gone
falling
through.
into the Arctic water twice.
Multiple times, I'm sure. Yeah.
While working with a dynamite.
Yeah.
The
bit of a buzzing in my ear. I gotta go home.
No, this is too much for me now.
Yeah.
He'd served in total for 27 years. He moved home with to his family and set up a proper pub, not just the one in his gaff, in Annerskull, which he'd bought then back the license for, I guess, in 1916. Which I believe, though, that he was on the boat at that stage. It must have been right before he left. But getting the deed...
There's big news back home. It's 1916 April. I need to rush this telegram back. Buy the pub.
But getting the deeds or the liquor license in the court, the judge said, "I'm proud that this man is a Kerry man. They've had some good men in Kerry, but this is an exceptional one.
Nice.
I'm more than delighted and honoured to know such a man, and I hope we have such men in the country in future as we have had in the past."
Oh, you could see the state of the place now.
Well, it is actually still there. You can still see it. The pub still exists. It's called the South Pole.
A place
he never got to. Really?
Damn. Did he call it that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, because I would have imagined that he would have not wanted to call it that.
No.
Like a lot of people said that
because he'd have people making the same comment all the time.
Yeah. That is like famous for going to the South Pole, but never actually.
Yeah. But in fairness, like Tom Crean's one of the names that you know from that year of exploration. But I'm not saying he didn't do anything, but you kind of assume that he, did one of the expeditions that got somewhere first, or did some route first, or made something. He was just extremely brave.
Buzz Lightyear never went to the moon.
You don't know that for sure.
I haven't seen any of the last two films. You're right.
Yeah. I was thinking of Buzz Lightyear earlier on when you were saying that McNish was giving out about that they didn't have any laws since they're off the boats. It's like, you can't be a man on the boat. That's the law of the boat. But we're not on the boat, are we?
But he
what was it? What
were
you saying? The South Pole? Oh yeah, no, he wouldn't want it to call. Yeah, if he called it South Pole, he's just the lads. Our lads cracking the same stupid comments all over.
He never shuts up about his J1.
Yeah,
he's always on about it. Forever on about the South Pole.
Here he is, Antarctic. I was doing a tour the other day. I was checking people in by their name, and I was like, "What name is it booked under?" And the guy was just whispering Michael Jordan. And I was like, "Why? What the fuck are you whispering for?" And then it did like, yeah. He was just a tall white English guy called Michael Jordan.
It's good.
Yeah, but it's the same reason you wouldn't call your pub the South Pole. Just get ahead of it.
Don't put your head above the parapet.
Go by Mike.
Mm-hmm. Just they call me Air.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was because he was very modest or because the War of Independence and then the Civil War. But he wasn't really one for talking about his time on the British ships.
Yeah. Which
is probably also why he wouldn't have called his pub the South Pole.
Yeah.
Don't be drawing attention to...
Yeah, Her Majesty's South Pole.
So it said he never spoke about it to family or to punters.
Yeah.
And there's not a single interview that can be found of him talking to the press, ever.
New lads that jumped down his throat if you brought it up. Yeah. Oh, here he goes now. The abominable snowman.
Someone says it in his eulogy, and they're like, you would never.
Lads would just be looking at him if there's any bit of snow in Kerry. Just be like, oh, cold out there.
But the Black and Tans ransacked the pub. As was their wont.
Yeah.
But when they saw a photo of him in the Navy uniform, they were like, "Oh, sorry about that now." Just stopped. And we're like, we'll put all of that back.
We'll put it all back. Let's go.
Right, untie the wife.
Well, she wasn't in the Navy.
But, he was present at a march in Tralee.
That seems like PR for the Black and Tans.
But it would have been probably him or someone there saying it. I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't have said we were ransacking places.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe. But he said he was present at a march in Tralee in 1920. Kerry's full. Where they were protesting the treatment of hunger-stricken Republican soldiers being held in Mountjoy.
Okay.
His brother Cornelius was a sergeant in the RIC and died near Upton in 1920 at an IRA ambush. His mother and father died too, and then he had a second daughter. I think he had a third baby as well that might have passed away, and this was all within 4 years of him coming home.
Right.
So he was in the thick of it coming back as well.
Big action.
Yeah.
But Cornelius is a very Cork name.
But this is Kerry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Very Munster name. Then.
It is, yeah. And because is it
Con?
It's Con.
Yeah. Con is Cornelius.
Yeah.
It's the only
Connor as well. I think that down there sometimes, but
maybe.
But he keeps the spirits up.
Yeah.
Which you'd need to in a pub.
He keeps the spirits up and the pints down low.
But he'd walk. It said that he would walk the back roads with his dogs,
as opposed to the main roads.
Yeah. Always the road less travelled.
Yeah.
I guess his dogs. Want to have a guess at their names?
Oh, Sally.
No.
Scott.
No, it's nothing to do with any of the people. It just says it's like Fido or Fido and Toby.
Okay.
Yeah, he visits relatives. He goes to the church. He keeps busy.
Keeps himself pottering around.
I assume he watches some football. He's from Kerry.
Yeah.
Definitely the boxing. But mainly he left a run into the pub to the wife.
Good.
Didn't really want to be in there.
No.
But on days where he'd fancy it, it'd say that he'd be in there for hours holding court, telling stories, not about the Arctic.
Not about the Arctic.
Yeah, which I assume that's the only thing of his life. His entire life has been spent on the sea. He doesn't talk about that. So when they're like, Jesus, he'd tell you stories. Of what?
Yeah.
He started at 15. He's like, well, there was a cow that got into the potato patch one time.
Tell the one about the cow, Tom. He loves this one.
But there's a story of a train breaking down one day nearby.
Story.
And the lads were off to Tralee for a weekend to the cattle mart. They had all their supplies with them.
Yeah.
But then
Tom came along in a man harness and said, come on, fellas, we're going to make it to the market.
No, he said, you're not getting there now. And what's that you have in you? Oh, a load of supplies for fries.
Oh.
He said, come on down to the pub. And now, but I think it's good. It must be a Friday or a Good Friday.
Okay.
So he's not meant to be having meat.
Yeah.
The wife smells it.
Oh,
he's cooking all the lads in the pub the food as they're probably drinking. They're having pints. The wife
having pints as well.
Oh well, sure. Look, you scratch my back. I'll pull you a pint.
Yeah.
He says.
But I mean, on the Lord's Day.
On the Lord's Day. Well, look, if you're breaking one, go the whole hog.
Yeah.
Eat the whole hog.
Yeah.
He says. She gives out to him for cooking this, and he says, Friday be damned. If I had a scalp of your arse, I'd have that eaten as well where I've been.
You got it, just save it.
Which is...
Every once in a while.
It's the one time he talked about it.
Yeah. Every once a year, they can probably get away with just throwing out, like, I went to the fucking South Pole.
Well, also, when he's not talking about it, they're like, well, what does he do? Well, he has 2 dogs and he just walks the back roads. He goes to visit relatives. Mm-hmm. He goes to church, a place where you just sit quietly.
Yeah.
Doesn't really go to the pub, leaves the run of that to the wife. It sounds like he has PTSD.
Yeah.
He's a very secluded man.
Yeah.
I guess. But
or is he just every elderly Irish man that's ever existed?
Well, maybe, because he gets into a few disputes about his garden.
I feel like there was a pinch point after the famine where one autistic man fucked a lot of people in the 1850s and 60s, and
we're all just his offspring.
I feel like there's a good chance. But he probably saw a lot of stuff, never really mentioned it, and wandered around with his dogs.
And tinnitus.
Yeah, tinnitus. Yeah. People try talking to him, we couldn't bloody hear.
But so he goes and gets into, much like most old Irishmen, he gets into disputes about his garden.
Okay.
He has to go to small court over it. And that had to be settled then. I don't think the court could fix it. So what's the level higher than the court?
Just fucking wrestling a man.
The priest.
Priest.
An Englishman's home is his castle. An Irishman's land is his soul.
Okay.
Is a quote that I assume he didn't say.
He didn't know.
Yeah. But here's one for you that we'll finish nearly on this. There are one or two little facts after this.
Okay.
But I did read one thing. True or not?
Yeah.
He'd have pensioners into the pub of a Friday, and he'd do mock drafts of like a bracket of boxing matches.
Okay.
To see what pensioners would fight each other and win.
Okay.
And I don't think he ever made them fight each other.
But he was just like fantasy pension fighters.
He's like, come on down, you fight him and you fight him, and I'll decide in my brain who would win.
Oh, okay.
And it seems like that happened on far more than one occasion.
Okay.
And there's only 300 people in the entire town.
Yeah.
So it's probably just the same 8 lads every week. I couldn't see the order changing too much. He's like, you, and then you, and I'll win.
But they're all cute whores, so they're all, every man, woman, and child was of pensionable age, according to the census. It's the oldest town in the country.
But apart from commotions about cabbages and pensioners punching each other, it seemed like he did have a fairly quiet life up until July 1938.
When Ernest Shackleton gave him a call, said, we're going to do it.
No, his appendix burst at the age of 61.
Ah!
Yeah.
If only he'd had that taken out.
Well,
before going to space.
That is true. But really, if only they'd brought him to Cork, because they brought him to Tralee, but there was no surgeon in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then they had to send him to Cork.
Okay.
Where they did remove his appendix, but an infection had already spread. And after about a week in the Bon Secours Hospital, he passed away on July 27th, 1938. Buried in the family cemetery in Anishgull. The statue of him there now across the road from the pub.
Yeah.
There's a Mount Crean in Antarctica as well as in Greenland. And on South Georgia Island, that one from earlier, there's Crean's Glacier and Crean Lake.
Okay.
And in 1921, the Irish government commissioned a new research vessel called the RV Tom Crean.
Okay. Yeah. What's RV? Research vessel.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Little couple of bits there.
Statue and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually these stories tend to end... Well, the old ones do. There's no statue of Bertie yet.
Yeah.
Recent history, you don't tend to get like statues.
Yeah.
You have to be gone for
Why
a while.
build a man a statue when you can build them a football stadium? But that's good. Yeah, a couple of mountains, a couple of bits. That's nice. He has living relatives. I remember listening to some RT documentary where his family tried to retrace some of his steps. I'm not entirely sure what it is they were doing. I think it must be his granddaughter or grandniece, but she injured her leg pretty soon into it. But her sons and husband, I think, did a bit of the trek.
Oh, I do remember hearing about that. Yeah.
It's interesting to listen to because it's very...
So with all the modern advances.
With all the modern advances and like a team kind of helping them, is still very funny to hear like Kerry people or just Irish people in extreme circumstances like that. Like they keep talking about how cold it is. Say, well, I know it would be cold, but I didn't expect it to be this cold. It's the Antarctic.
I would expect it to be a level of cold you couldn't expect. Like,
there you go.
Just,
and I was expecting it to be a level of cold you couldn't expect, but I didn't expect this. But I'm going to look up to see if they did do cocaine. Yeah, someone had sent this to me after the other one and Shackleton's expedition. Francis, one of the guys on it, was saying they used to drip cocaine was dripped in the eye to cure snow blindness.
Oh,
yeah,
you were right.
Yeah, I had that in the chamber somewhere, but that feels like I don't know why. Probably the same as like brandy for keeping the cold off you. They're probably dripping cocaine in their eyes. And they're like, you know what? I feel a lot better. Can you see? Well, it's very wobbly.
He's talking a lot.
Yeah, he's talking a lot more. He's talkative. His spirits seem up. And diarrhea was treated with chalk ground up with opium.
Okay.
Colic called for a tincture of cannabis mixed with tincture of chili pepper.
Okay.
Spicy joints.
Yeah.
But
but what you're saying is for everything, there was, for all medicinal purposes, there was some form of illegal drug they've mixed with something else
So
that probably didn't have any effect whatsoever. They just get, for all these things, you're just giving them.
yeah, well, it kind of explains all these instances where maybe Tom wasn't into that sort of stuff. So all these instances where lads were like, let's just stay behind at this tent. Tom, why don't you go on and send back a boat for us? And we just sit here and take a load of opium for a couple of months. They're also the thing they referred to a pills called Forced March, which is a blend of cocaine and caffeine that they just took every hour to keep their endurance up.
Called Forced March.
Yeah.
That's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Which is the same.
Well, that's like the history of a lot
in
of
World War. Just take a load of speed. But Jesus, get cocaine and caffeine. Whew. They must have been just having, and now that's really colored all of these men just sitting around, just talking the ear off each other, but at complete cross purposes for months.
Now, tell me this.
Man, the fucking World War One, man. We should fucking just get them all around, get them all down, get them down to the Arctic.
Did RTE allow, when they were redoing the ancestors?
Yeah, they have all the modern technology, but they don't have
no cocaine and coffee.
Why is this so difficult? How did he ever manage to do it? He was flat out hoofing opium.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Didn't they try to at some point? Wasn't Vogue Williams going to do MDMA or mushrooms or something for a TV show to be like, oh, this is what the effects of drugs and harmful drugs.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you can't do that on TV. Like after they'd already said it, and like, what we're gonna do to promote it is say that.
Yeah.
They're like, you can't take illegal narcotics on TV. Not on RG anyway. You couldn't do it.
Why not?
Because it's RG.
Yeah, all right, that makes sense. But I mean, legally, you probably could. If you filmed it somewhere where it's not illegal, that's grand.
Yeah, but you have to do. So that's true.
Film it anywhere.
Yeah,
the Antarctic.
Dices.
Yeah, actually, sure. Could you bring caffeine and cocaine down to the Antarctic? It's all legal there.
Yeah,
I assume.
International waters.
Yeah, international ice.
Yeah,
mess. That's good though.
Yeah, that's part 2. Tom Crean.
Yeah,
Arctic Explorer.
The Crean man. Oh, what was the? I think last time we talked about that ad. We mentioned it there that Guinness does.
Oh yeah.
Where what's the song that he's singing? The oh shit what?
Oh yeah, is that yeah? Drunken Sailor. Is that right?
Yeah. Let's see. Even better, it's not Oroge. It's just the mutterings of a lunatic.
Yeah.
That's a great ad.
That's Tom talking to himself.
But it's not even. It's just Tom. It's hard to describe the ad through the audio medium, but the Guinness have just shamelessly attached themselves to. I'd say you probably wouldn't have even served Guinness down in this pub.
No, you
South Pole Beamish only.
Or Murphy's. I know they're Cork, but you would have been a lot closer to it. Guinness wouldn't have travelled well at the time.
This ad seems to imply. This ad seems to imply that the only thing that kept Tom going was the thought of a creamy pint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A place where he didn't even like working in the pub.
No.
Like he didn't. He's noted for not leaving it all up to his wife to run the pub.
He's just the ad is him sitting in a rock in a cave, just like frozen solid. He's losing hope. Cuts to a pub back home
where
he's
working,
with modern Guinness glasses. He's serving pints. And it cuts back to him in the Arctic, and he's like, "Up, Tom, up! There's pints to be drank.
Faster, Tom! Faster, Tom!"
And he made it.
Mm.
And they showed the length of time that he was a explorer,
19 years,
and the length of time that he was a publican. Longer,
very close to.
It would certainly imply that was more important.
It's more important to finish on that.
Yeah. He might be known as a famous publican, but did you know that he also tried to go to the South Pole? There's your boy Tom Crean.
Mm-hmm. If you're at any of the live shows, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Because we did this story twice, I believe.
Maybe.
And we'll be doing a different live story.
Oh yeah.
In the Laughter Lounge on January 30th.
Yep.
For the love of Jesus, would you buy a ticket?
Go on.
We'll be there telling stories.
Yep.
There'll be cheap merch if you like merch. There'll be
inexpensive merch.
Yeah. Maybe free. We'll see how fucking well this thing's going. This could be the last days of Rome, but then we get to it.
Yeah, if you didn't get an Oasis ticket, just get on fucking buy our tickets.
Yeah, if there are going to be about
We'll play Oasis.
5% of the cost. Like,